Hey everyone, my name is Anna and today I'm going to be doing my August wrap up. August wasn't an amazing reading month. I moved on the 26th and before I moved there was loads of sorting out to do. It was just a bit of a hectic one and I only managed to read 4 books this month, which was still pretty decent, you know. I would like to stay at a consistent, 7-ish books a month, but we'll see. I only have 2 of them in physical form with me right now because obviously I've gone to uni, so I'm kind of short on books. I've only brought 1 stack and that was it really. I'm also sorry if you can hear any sort of background noise. The walls are really thin. I'm actually home alone right now. No one is moving in until next week, so I do get a few days off to myself where I can probably pre-film loads so that when my housemates are here I don't have to worry about them hearing me or you guys hearing them. So the first book I read in the month of August was The Obelisk Gate. This was the second book in the Broken Earth trilogy. As you can see, I had a lot of thoughts. Yeah, there's a lot of relationship tags in here. So this is the second book of the Broken Earth trilogy. If you don't know what the Broken Earth trilogy is, it starts with the 5th season and it is a trilogy about this alternate Earth, parallel Earth, where there are apocalypse level events every few decades and we are kind of thrown in the middle of one and we start seeing what the wider world is and what the past was like, and we follow the main character Essen on her journey to find her ex-husband and exact revenge for killing her son and kidnapping her daughter. I really like this book. This book was very, very character driven. There is a lot of time. We're in Kostrima, which is a kind of com that has taken in Essen, Tonki and Hoa, and we meet new characters like Ika and Lerna and Hjarka. I really like this book. I think this one, well, I definitely like this one more than the 5th season, which is shocking because I told you guys the 5th season was probably one of my favourite books I've ever read. This trilogy is definitely coming out to be one of my favourite fantasy series of all time. I just think it is so amazing. I can't get over how unique the magic system is and the society system and the lore. Especially I've just started reading The Stone Sky, which is the 3rd book in the trilogy, and we're starting to see the lore and the history of the world, and it is amazing. It is so well explored and Jemisin did such a good job. I'm impressed. This book really looks at the relationships changing as people change, as circumstances change, as we get closer and closer to Essen's big task. We see her and Alabaster's relationship once she finds him, because we did explore her relationship to him in the 1st book before her more defining moments in her life, for lack of a better term and to avoid spoilers. We also get to see a lot more of Nasan, who I really like. We get to see her relationship with Shafa, which I thought was insane, that we kind of get to see what she thinks of Shafa, because we know what her mum thinks of Shafa, so I think it's really nice to get to see how Nasan takes her originy and what she does with it and how she perceives it, and we see 2 very separate perceptions of origin. So it's really interesting to see that juxtaposition. I do have quite a lot of plot. There's definitely a plot in here. There's definitely a lot more that is uncovered about the world around them, even though we're in this underground com. There's still so much that is uncovered as we kind of get to see more people that have touched Esson one way or another, and they kind of all come together to share their bit of the story. It's like a puzzle coming together and it is so satisfying. I'm definitely very pleased with this book as the second book. I've read 1 chapter of The Stone Sky and I'm already so impressed. So I'm really excited to continue and finish this trilogy. I'm kind of sad that I'm finishing it. I'm kind of sad it's a trilogy, but all good things come to an end, I guess. Gave this one 5 stars, as I did with the 5th season, and I am predicting that I'm going to give The Stone Sky 5 stars, but you better tune into my September wrap up to find out. The second book I read was These Witches Don't Burn by Isabel Sterling, a very swift change to the vibe. These Witches Don't Burn follows a high school student who's also a witch, an elemental as she calls it, or as they call it, and her kind of navigating her relationships and her queerness while also having to deal with this kind of mystery of who is trying to harm her and her coven and her family. I really like this book. This is in a weird like middle ground between middle grade and young adult. I wouldn't say it's middle grade, even though it's classed like that on the Waterstones website. I actually ordered it at the counter because I couldn't find it, and the woman was like, this is 9 to 12, like, are you sure this is the right one? I was like, yeah, but it's not young adult either. I think it's in that weird middle ground where most high school set books are. I think it's definitely leaning towards young adult. It's definitely aimed at older people, but I really like this one actually. So we explore Hannah's relationship with her ex Veronica, because they're still in the same coven, but they had some sort of traumatic experience and then caused like a rift in their relationship, and we really see how toxic Veronica is as an ex, and yet how Hannah goes back running to her. We also have a new love interest, which I really enjoyed. I thought she was so cute. Hannah has to hide what she is. Elementals are not known to the world, so it's very interesting to see her trying to hide it and how she has to just like lie her way out of a date or something because something crazy has happened in her coven. It's a trope I really like. I really like in like vampire books and shows and stuff where it's like you have to hide and then something happens and it's like all this like secretive where it's like stuff you can't explain. The only criticism I had of this book is how whitewashed it was. I did some research because this is set in Salem, and I was doing some research of Salem's like ethnic makeup, and it does say that most of them, I think 60% of the population is white, but about 25%, I think, I don't remember this very accurately, but a significant amount of the population is Latino or Hispanic. So I was kind of like expecting to have at least 1 or 2 non-white characters, because even if 60% of a place is white, there still are non-white people that exist, you know? So I don't know, I just felt it was really whitewashed. I've been reading a lot of books that have very strong representation, and so it kind of stood out like a sore thumb. But apart from that, I actually enjoyed it quite a lot. I think it was quite an easy read. I gave this one 3.5 stars, but I rounded it up to 4 because I don't think it deserves a 3-star rating on Goodreads. And yeah, I also listened to this on audiobook and it was really easy to listen to. I listened to it very quickly and I really enjoyed it. I'm definitely excited. There's a sequel and I'm really excited to read it, so I will be picking it up at some point, sometime. The next book I read was Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. I unfortunately don't have this book with me. I left it at home because it is a fat 600-page book. This book is so mind-blowing. I did not know what to expect and I was shocked when I read it. So this book follows a scientist who has created a nanovirus to speed up evolution. So instead of, you know, the millions of years that it takes between each stage of evolution, it happens from generation to generation with the help of this nanovirus. And what she wants to do is she wants to go to this terraformed planet and drop monkeys. So she has her own like race of humans as separate to Earth, which is plagued by war and like climate change and everything, and it's like on the brink of collapse. However, something goes awry in her spaceship and she ends up dropping the nanovirus without the monkeys. Half this book is written from a spider's perspective, which is so baffling. I've never experienced anything quite like this book. I really enjoyed it though. Like, I'm not particularly, I like tarantulas. I'm not scared of spiders or anything. I think definitely if you're scared of spiders, you wouldn't want to read this book, because they are terrifying. Like, they're massive. They're about an arm's length described, and they build their own society as we know it in humans, but it's spiders. It's really interesting. The other half of the book is humans in the far future after the scientist has dropped the nanovirus and has gone into cryosleep. A very small group of, well, about like, I think it's like almost 500 people, but I'm not 100% sure, but like that kind of scale of people get on this spaceship called the Gilgamesh, and they just fly off into space to find one of these terraformed worlds of the old empire where the spiders are, where Kern, the scientist, is keeping an eye on the project and waiting for her monkeys to respond to her like maths problem that she's sending them to test their intelligence. It's very interesting to see this kind of like first contact with aliens. The ending, I thought it was gonna end in a way that I really didn't like. I was like, oh fuck, like I had about 60 pages left and I was like, oh no, like I can see exactly where this is going. I hate this so much. And it just turns around in the last like 30 pages and it becomes amazing. I love this book. I'm giving this a 4.5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I've never read anything like it, ever. One criticism I have of this book is that, so there's like a matriarchal society where female spiders are very important and male spiders are very disposable. And there is one spider, Fabian, a male spider, who's trying to like advocate for like males' rights. I really dislike when this is done in books where it's like sexism flipped on its head and like men are in the position of women. I don't know, it just always leaves a sour taste in my mouth because it's like, you could be like, you're tackling sexism, and there were very valid points made that had parallels to sexism in our society, but it was like, why can you only tackle sexism if it's the males that are being discriminated against? I just always think that I've read a few books that have this kind of like, sexism, but make it opposite. It's where I've read it and I'm like, this doesn't sit right with me, because is that the only way you can criticize sexism, especially written by a man? Leave your comments below. What do you think of this kind of like swap sexism trope? Like, do you think it's good or not? I personally don't like it, but it wasn't bad enough to put me off the thing. And I think there was still some important societal commentary made, but it was made to defend males, you know? The last book I read in August, Children of Time, took me a while to read because it's 600 pages and it's really hard to get into. Once you get into it, I think about like 150 pages in I was okay, but the first 150 pages took me so long to like read. I would read like 2 chapters and like get distracted. But yeah, so the last book I read, which I read in like one day, was Girls of Paper and Fire by Natasha and Ngan. This was amazing. This book follows Lei, who is a member of the paper caste, who are the lowest caste in society, and she is chosen to be a paper girl, one of 9 girls that will serve the Demon King as concubines. Yeah, so Moon caste are like the highest rank, the highest, like, you know, the most important people in society. Then there is Steel caste, who are half demon, half human, and then there's paper caste, who are fully human. And so the king chooses 9 paper girls each year, or 8, but in this case it was 9 because Lei is special. They have to serve as his concubines for a year before they get special places in the court. And they don't really get a choice always. Some of them want to do it, but some of them don't, but realistically we find out that none of them do. Big trigger warning for this one for sexual assault and rape. It has some really heavy themes that I was reading and I was like, I honestly thought I misinterpreted what was expected of these girls, and I was like, no way. No way. But this book is about how Lei falls in love with one of the other paper girls, Ren. I love them. I love them so much. I can't say anymore because I'm gonna spoil it. I love the characters. I think they're all really well fleshed out, and there's no like, at first they all felt so like stereotypy and tropey, and I was like, oh shit, like, is this what it's gonna be like? Like, we have the diva, and we have the little innocent girl, and we have the aloof cool girl, and then like, but then they all have another side to them, which I thought was really interesting. And as Lei gets to know them, so do we, and we start to find out more about their lives and, you know, why they're there and what is going on. I really like this. I definitely enjoyed this. I read this in one day because I read half of, like, I read 9 chapters on the train, and then after I moved in I had no Wi-Fi, so I was like, well, all I can do is read, so I just read the whole thing in one night. I couldn't find my tags, so I had to like tag the actual pages. Why did I tag this one? Oh, this was so cute. This is kind of like a bit of a spoiler. I'm just going to read a little bit just because I thought this was my favourite line. And I feel like most people have read this book. If you haven't though, skip ahead to the time on the screen and it isn't really like spoilery, but it kind of is. So Lei says, I asked you if you were meeting someone. That night when you brought me food, you promised me you weren't. Because I wasn't, says Ren. Not in the way you were asking. I don't believe you. This pulls a growl from her. Lei, Ren sighs, almost angry. There isn't anyone else. I roll my eyes. You've already said that. I say, but then I catch on to her turn of phrase. Anyone else. And I suddenly comprehend what she's trying to tell me. That there is someone. Oh, I breathe as a dizzying sensation wings through me. You mean me? Like, that was so cute. I was literally reading it. I had to stop. I was like, bitch. I gave this one 5 stars. Or like, I think 4.5, but I might change it to 5, honestly. Big deserve. I really like this. I'm going to be reading the sequel for Becca's Bookathon. I love Ikara, like the place. I think it is so well fleshed out, and it really shows that Natasha Ngan based it off Malaysia, where she's from, because it's just so well fleshed out and so multicultural, which I know from my Malaysian friends that Malaysia has a variety of cultures like ingrained in its overall life. Yeah, I really like this. Definitely recommend. I'm very happy with how sapphic this month was. 3 out of 4 books have some sort of sapphic relationship, and 2 of them center around the sapphic relationship, so I'm really happy with that. But yeah, thank you all so much for watching. While August wasn't my most successful month, I'm still very happy with what I read. All the books I read were really, really good, and I'm excited for September because Becca's Bookathon is happening, and I'm potentially doing Sapphic September, but I'm gonna decide that as I go along, so you better watch my hopefully weekly vlogs and see if I'm actually doing Sapphic September or not. But thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and follow me on Twitter to be kept up to date with everything that's going on in my life. I'm also really sorry there was no video last week, but as I said, I was moving and everything was so hectic. I did not have time or space, everything was so messy, to get a video. But yeah, I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!